This pedophile, devil worshipper, Donald Trump is losing every single day. With Iran war, it is becoming a big disaster for him, if not the biggest ever in human history. Not just for him, but also in the history of the United States, thanks to this pedophile, this incompetent guy sitting in White House, rambling about this war, bragging that he's putting so many troops on the line, risking their life to cover up for him from the Epstein file getting released. Of course, he's desperate. He's trying his best. He is doing whatever he can to cover that story, to make sure people do not know what he did in the past. We know what you have done, and now we know what you are doing with Iran. Take a look at this one first.
His disastrous war in Iran continues to spiral out of control, and now Donald Trump thinks that if he just throws the special forces at the catastrophic problem he created, that will solve everything. Just send the special forces to go and extract nearly 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium. Just put them in a country with 90 million.
Can you believe this? Send special forces in harm's way for what? To cover up for the Epstein files. This is what he wants. You and me to be always distracted with his war plan, with his really no strategy of war plan, and make sure that we are always talking about this nonsense, this garbage he's doing with this war, instead of talking about Epstein file. Unbelievable.
Million people and see what happens. That's what Donald Trump's apparently planning. Several hundred U.S. Special Operation Forces, including Army Rangers and Navy SEALs, have just arrived in the Middle East, joining thousands of Marines and Army paratroopers from the 82nd Airborne Division in a deployment meant to give Donald Trump additional options to expand the current month-long disastrous war in Iran, with planning underway for possible ground invasions. This is being reported by the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, reporting how Trump is weighing a military operation with these special forces to extract nearly 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium from at least two sites in Iran.
Two things. Number one, he promised the war will be how many weeks? 4 weeks? Never a month. 4 weeks maximum. 2-3 weeks, I'll be done. I will decimate Iran. And lo and behold, we are now almost 1 month, more than 1 month actually, and we are still in Iran. He did not accomplish nothing. Now he wants to send these special forces to take out the uranium from Iran, when he lied in front of the camera about obliterating the Iranian uranium enrichment program, destroying it. They will never be able to even rebuild. Really? Really? You liar, a pathological liar. Now you have to send your special forces and make them pay and sacrifice their life for your cover-up from the Epstein files. That's what you plan. Of course, these are all coming at the behest of his Zionist master, Netanyahu from Tel Aviv. But guys, this is insanity.
A very complex and risky mission that would likely put hundreds of American ground forces inside the country for days, if not longer. But all of this would be expected to have this war drag on for months and months and months. While all of this is taking place, as Donald Trump has sent now tens of thousands of additional troops with Marine Expeditionary Units to Iran, with the USS Tripoli arriving there on Friday, Donald Trump called up the Financial Times and gave an interview where he said the following things. I want to seize all of Iran's oil. To be honest with you, Trump said, my favorite thing is to take their oil. That's my favorite thing, to take all of the oil of Iran. So what Donald Trump said. He also said that he's considering taking Karg Island, Iran's main oil export hub. So considering a mission with special forces to extract 1,000 pounds of highly enriched uranium, also taking
100% hyperboles. 100%. He wants you and me to believe in his story, lie, all of them, full of lies. And he's going to take Karg Island tomorrow, and then he's going to go and take Iran, and then he's going to take their oil, their uraniums, all of it. This guy doesn't stop lying because, unfortunately, there are a lot of scumbags believing his lies. But if you just open your eyes, look at what is happening on social media instead of going to Fox News, you will see what really is happening on the ground. But again, this guy is pushing a narrative in his favor. Obviously, he's going to do that, but he's doing it in such a blatant way that he's getting caught lying through his teeth every day.
Karg Island. What could possibly go wrong, everybody? He compares Iran to Venezuela, saying U.S. could control the oil in Iran indefinitely like we're doing in Venezuela. Trump claims Iran has no real defense anymore. I don't think they have any defense. We could take care of it all very easily. It would be done very, very easily. He said that it would require an occupation, but he says he's got the appetite for it. He says it would also mean we'd have to be there for a while. And he says that MAGA supports that. MAGA's happy when Donald Trump goes to war in the Middle East, he claims. Trump claims the scale of bombing is that we've already bombed 13,000 targets.
This pathetic liar, this pathological liar, this psychopath said when he was running for a second term, no new war, no new war. It's a disaster that we went to Iraq in 2003. It's a disaster. We should have done it. No new war. But then all of a sudden you see this pathological liar, this pedophile, is going to war. He stopped 8 wars. How many times he said that lie? Hundreds and zillions of times. He's starting on one more. So he stopped 8, and then he will start 8, and then he will keep on doing it until obviously he doesn't have to call for an election because the country will be in a state of emergency. You know, the 1973 War Power Resolution, you know that? So yeah, no midterm, no election in the next general election. There will be nothing.
We've got about 3,000 targets left. Well, we've learned that a lot of these targets are targets where Iranian civilians live. Of course, we know about Manab, where there were 165 little girls who were murdered by American tomahawks. But we also talked earlier yesterday about a gym, not the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps facility down the block, but there was a gym in Iran that was attacked by the United States, where dozens of people were killed. And we continue to see hundreds, if not thousands, of civilians in Iran killed by the United States and Israel. You also have Donald Trump claiming that regime change has effectively already happened. We've done regime change, he said. And in fact, Trump said the current regime, very reasonable people. Donald Trump says they've agreed to most of his terms with the 15...
When he says, I'm talking to Iranian government or regime, he's basically talking to himself. When he says, I have opened the Strait of Hormuz, he's talking about him playing video games. That's really what it is.
Beautiful building, and I think it'll be the finest ballroom of its kind anywhere in the world. A lot of people are giving it really good reviews. Some are giving it reviews without even seeing the building, because this just came out today. These pictures were just made today. This is a view of the columns as they are going to be made. They're going to be hand carved and they're beautiful. Top of the line. They'll be Corinthian, which is considered the best, most beautiful by far.
Corinthian? Roberto Montalban talking about fine Corinthian.
President Trump last night on Air Force One talking about his ballroom.
Finest Corinthian.
It comes as gas prices continue to hover around $4 a gallon nationally, and TSA agents have gone without pay for weeks, while travelers wait in hours-long lines at several airports across the country. Meanwhile, there is new reporting this morning from The Economist that Iran is now earning nearly twice as much from oil sales each day than it was before the war started. And
not only Iran, but also Russia is making tons of money. In one estimation, Russia is selling $7.6 million worth of oil since February 28th when this war started. This is Donald Trump for you guys. He's going to sanction Russia. Oh, I'm going to sanction Russia. I'm going to sanction Iran. I'm going to put tariff. All of this, nonsense, stupid garbage he's spewing out is not really cutting it for him. He is right now seeing nightmares. Those young girls whom he raped, and then he ate their flesh. Yeah, they're coming in his nightmares every day. He's seeing them. They're haunting. They're taunting. And this is just becoming unbearable for this pedophile.
And the Department of Defense is reportedly preparing for potential ground operations in Iran that could last 4 weeks. So before we launch, Joe, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
talking about the ballroom project when there is the potential for a ground invasion in Iran.
Right.
Can you make sense of it?
Oh, I think so. I think the president is focused on his legacy, what he considers.
He's focused. Demon, this devil worshiper, is focused on just worshiping himself. That's what he said. My ego, my morale is what can stop it all. Unbelievable. How he's abusing his power is something really unbelievable.
Person with dementia and failing health conditions running the United States of America. And as all of you know, if you have an older relative that is in the nursing home and you may go see them and your grandmother will say, you know, I always liked you more than I liked your little sister. Well, Trump is at that stage in his life where the deathbed confessions are absolutely accelerating. He says something stunning that I think we all knew, but now he's starting to say all of the quiet parts out loud. Play the clip.
Now, what is missing in leadership?
Well, it's winning. You got to win. You know, I've watched a lot of people, leaders, great leaders. And, you know, the one thing about sports is you break it down into, you know, a 2-hour period, something nice. You don't have to wait a lifetime to find out is somebody a winner or a loser. You got a lot of losers, mostly losers, fortunately. It's a good thing to have a lot of losers. I always like to hang around with losers, actually, because it makes me feel better. I hate guys that are very, very successful and you have to listen to their success stories. I like people that like to listen to my success.
Okay, I think we all knew this, but the fact that he's saying it out loud is definitely what autocrats do, what's called a humiliation ritual. Combined with the dementia and the press impunity that he's able to say these things, and there's no Fox News meltdown, there's no consensus in Western media that this man should not be running, that he has chosen a bunch of losers to work in his cabinet. We all know it. We all see how incompetent all of these people are, how mentally unstable all of these people are. But he's saying it out loud. He shines when he's surrounded by a bunch of losers. And think about what a loser this guy is, that the bar is that low, that beneath him, you have absolute bottom feeders. And this is really stunning. The Daily Mail is a conservative rag, just complete trash paper, right? Well, they pop out this story, pop this up. Trump insiders explode over Stephen Miller's shadow rule and reveal how Puppet Master overrides the president, and somebody close says he needs to be fired. So Stephen Miller, it is widely known and accepted that in the Oval Office, he is referred to as Mr. Prime Minister. And Stephen Miller has an agenda and a plan. He wants to deport 100 million people from America. All of the ICE provocations, all of those things are Stephen Miller's pet projects. Even
Stephen Miller should actually deport himself to Israel. His wife should be deported to Israel. And when he talks about deporting people, 100 million people back to, you know, whatever he wants, he's basically targeting all the podcasters, most of them, if not all of them, to deport them. Like, from the Young Turks, Shank, he wants to deport him. His wife wants to deport him. So, yeah, this... people are getting really very authoritarian, very, very desperate.
This morning, oil prices spiking again after President Trump said he wants to take Iran's oil. And then moments ago, he posted this on his Truth Social, quote, saying, if for any reason a deal is not shortly reached, which it probably will be, and if the Hormuz Strait is not immediately open for business, we will conclude our lovely stay in Iran by blowing up and completely obliterating all of their electrical generating plants, oil wells, and Karg Island, and possibly all desalination plants.
And so after that, what? After that, you're going to leave. You're going to pack up and leave. Iran will take all the hits that you're talking about, that you are saber rattling. Iran will be like, yeah, no problem. After that, you leave, right? You don't never ever come back to the Middle East. Then we can come and get Israel. Yeah, we will take that hit. Yeah, it will cost us billions of dollars, but We'll get over it. We'll rebuild it. But what we cannot stand, what we cannot tolerate is your presence in the Middle East. That's what the message is pretty much from Iran. And that's where it is heading at the moment. So Donald Trump, when he talks about, gives big talks, we're going to blow up Iran, we're going to give them a 48-hour deadline. He did that before, and people call his bluff.
The president also has now pushed off that deadline that he has set another time, now saying that he's going to hold off until April 6th in targeting Iranian energy sites to allow for these talks that he's now writing about this morning. You wrote that continuing to push this off is a sign of weakness. Do you think he should hit Iran's energy infrastructure, though?
Well, I think if we have the support of the Gulf Arab states who risk retaliation from Iran, if we do that, then the answer is yes. Just on this point, the mediators said that Iran had not asked for an extension of the deadline. That's what Trump said. They asked for it, so I gave it to them. The mediator, not Iran, the mediator said they never asked for it. So it's very much in question just exactly what the state of play in these negotiations really is. Maybe we'll know more this week, but I don't think any negotiation that goes on by passing messengers through the mediators is close to a solution. If we sit down with the Iranians and come up with something, that would be different. But I'm not optimistic even on that point.
Yeah, and the president also this morning, I believe for the first time, is now threatening to, as part of the retaliation, part of what would come if Iran doesn't come to the table. I believe for the first time he is now threatening to hit desalination plants. That's what he wrote today, which are a critical source of fresh water, of course, for the entire Gulf region. Is that something you would like to see? What impact do you think that would have on this conflict?
No, I wouldn't recommend that, again, mostly because I'm concerned about retaliation to our Gulf Arab allies, and that's something we need their continued support and participation. I think the president's focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's the international price of oil. Not thinking about nuclear weapons, ballistic missiles, terrorism. He's thinking about the closure of the
he's thinking about the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. He went to this war when the Strait of Hormuz was open. Iran was not collecting any toll. He is into this war when this Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran is collecting tolls. Like, he created this whole problem himself that he wants to solve now. Well, no problem. We will not have any problem with the nuclear program. No problem with any of the ballistic missile program you have. The biggest problem for us today is oil price. We need to keep it down. We need to open the Strait of Hormuz. So see how the objectives, how the goalpost changed and moved. This is the level of lunacy we're dealing with every day from this mega madness or mega lunatic of that we call Donald Trump. Take a listen at this one.
Let's bring in retired Major General Dana Petard, co-author of Hunting the Caliphate, America's War on ISIS and the Dawn of the Strike Cell, and Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Bloomberg. I welcome you both. Thank you for being here. So today, the Washington Post reports the Pentagon is preparing for weeks of ground operation in Iran if President Trump approves this plan. So, General, how big an escalation would this be and how dangerous for U.S. troops?
Well, first of all, hello, Alex, and V. Gates, Jeff. As far as troops, just not sure what we're trying to accomplish with that. There's different possibilities. There's troop to task missions that could take place, such as helping to secure the Strait of Hormuz, possibly to help secure nuclear sites, high risk. There's even possibility of taking over some of the islands in the Persian Gulf, including Karg Island. I would hope not, but we have already two.
All of this talking point, they're basically saying that Donald Trump has sent these troops on a suicide mission, because that's what it is. Once they're there, they'll all die. Do you think Iran is just going to watch and welcome them? What they're doing in the last 47 years or in the last 25 years since the invasion of Afghanistan, what Iran is doing, they're thinking, oh, we will never get invaded. No, they knew this day will come. They were preparing for it. So when U.S. troops land on this island, Karg Island, Abu Musa Island, or other places in Iran, they are going to get completely wiped out. And that is again happening because of Donald Trump, because of this pathetic loser, this demented person who doesn't have any idea what he is doing. Of course, sometimes he throws his own staffers under the bus, like Pete Hegseth and other people in the administration. Marco Rubio is one of them. Things are looking absolutely pathetic for this pathetic moron, this liar. Subscribe for more videos.